Hello, dear viewers. Today I am going to talk about uh, nationalism in uh, India in general. Today I will be talking about the Uniform Civil Code and why I think it will be able to help bring unity within the nation. Let's begin. So, here, Article 44 of the Constitution says that a uniform civil code for the citizens shall be secured by the state throughout the territory of India. Crimes. So, India has a criminal procedure code and a penal code, which is uniform for all citizens, and this makes them, uh, yeah, so no matter what religion you follow or what ethnicity you are from or what state you are from, the criminal laws are the same. And however, this is not the same for civil laws in India. Civil laws in India, such as the personal laws, the family laws, are divided between the religions. Each of the religions have their own civil laws, the personal laws. The Hindus have the Hindu Marriage Act, the Hindu Succession Act, and other acts. And Sikhs, Buddhists, and Jains come under these acts and are defined as Hindus under these acts. And Christians come under their personal law enactments that are directed to them. And Muslims are generally governed by their own religious texts and cultural norms, but do have some uh, law, written laws that govern their family uh, life too. So this is a point of contention amongst Indians because those who are in favor of the Uniform Civil Code argue that since it is in the Constitution, it should be implemented. And they also say that it will unite people under one law and prevent various other uh, unfortunate incidents from happening. However, those who oppose the Uniform Civil Code say that it will cause the minorities to uh, have their religious freedom threatened. I support the former argument. I am in favor of the Uniform Civil Code, and I want to discuss why that is. Civil Code was in Article 44 was made in the state policy, the directive principles of state policy, which is Part 4 of the Constitution. These are not enforceable by the government or by the courts, but these are merely guidelines passed by, in the Constitution that the government is expected to follow. And they can be used as a defense for any government policy or act. Now, so this means that the Uniform Civil Code is not mandatory, and I feel that this was, with all due respect to the Constituent Assembly, I believe that this was an error. That I think that this should have been mandatory, uh, mandatory for the government to do. And why I say this is because of several reasons. One of them is that this will help achieve gender justice through the Uniform Civil Code. Many of the personal laws of the communities in India are biased towards either men or to women. Men are expected to be the breadwinner and to give maintenance to the wife and children, and the wife is expected to be a housewife and not to work and not to earn her own money. And several laws, like in Sharia law, the Muslim Sharia law, like triple talaq and polygamy and nikah halala, are derogatory to women. Um, Triple talaq basically allows a Muslim husband to divorce his wife by saying talaq three times consecutively, and immediately she's divorced without any way to uh, argue her point. Polygamy is also practiced by Muslims in India, and nikah halala is an act where is a practice whereby a Muslim woman who is divorced by her husband, she seeks to remarry him. She must first marry another man, and that man must divorce her in order for her to approach her first husband to remarry. This is something I don't agree with. These practices, I think that they put women at a disadvantage, and so I think if uh, uniform civil code is there, we can remove these gender inequalities in personal laws so that both men and women are free to live their lives as equals. And yeah, uh, also, so what are some of the issues that people have? Recently, a few weeks ago, the Uttarakhand government made a decision to introduce uniform civil code in their state, which they have the constitutional power to do so because um, it comes under uh, section 7 of the Indian Constitution, which under the concurrent list, whereby states can make laws and central government can also make laws on the same subjects. However, if the state law and the central law come into conflict, the central law will prevail. However, there is no central law for UCC, so Uttarakhand is at liberty to pass such a law. So I also have no problem with them making this law, but the Indian American Muslim Council in on Twitter said that they completely condemned it. I don't know why the Indian American Muslim Council is talking about stuff that's happening back in India, but whatever. Really, I mean, some things are hard to understand. So yeah, they say that they unequivocally condemned the decision because they say that this is an alarming deviation from the current system, which has different laws for different faiths, and that their Muslim personal laws are based on religious texts and are not codified. And yeah, I don't really understand what is so alarming about this. This is simply enacting a provision in the Constitution that expect that the Constitution makers expected the government to implement, and they say that it will violate their freedom of religion, and it will be an invasion of the private lives of citizens, particularly Muslims and Christians who are already so severely marginalized in India. This is something I disagree with. This is not going to affect the rights of any Indian citizen to practice their religion, and I will explain that later. And I just want to mention that Muslims and Christians are not marginalized in India. They have the same rights that other Indians do. They are equal citizens. What Article 25 says about freedom of religion and how the Uniform Civil Code does not go against it. Article 25 says that every person in India shall have a freedom of conscience and free profession, practice, and propagation of religion, and that this is and held. And nothing in this article shall affect the operation of any existing law or prevent the state from making any law regulating or restricting any economic, financial, political, or other secular activity which may be associated with religious practice. And so this argument of theirs falls flat because uh, the Uniform Civil Code does not stop anyone from practicing their religion or professing or propagating it. They can still believe in whatever God they want. They can still celebrate their festivals, worship at their holy sites. However, the secular uh, parts of their lives that are somewhat connected to religion, such as marriage, divorce, adoption, these are secular uh, um, activities. They are not religious activities, not essentially religious. So the state has the right to make laws regulating them. And also the fact that the freedom of religion is subject to public order, morality, and health also shows that if a personal law is or a part of or a religious practice is against public morality, then it can be uh, restricted by the government. This I'm saying with reference to polygamy and triple talaq, as I've said before. This is why uh, the Supreme Court gave their judgment that um, triple talaq is unconstitutional because it is manifestly arbitrary in nature. This is referring to Article 14, which says that all persons must be treated equally before the law. However, this law of triple talaq discriminates against Muslim women, and other women in India don't have to suffer from it, and that it's arbitrary because it can be announced for no reason. So it was held unconstitutional. So that's an example of immoral religious practice being uh, prohibited by the state. Later in 2019, the government passed a law criminalizing triple talaq. And here they also say that far from being a step towards progressiveness, the UCC is another avenue for Hindu supremacists to attack and prosecute Muslims and Christians for practicing their faith in their private lives. This is completely wrong and a very dangerous thing for them to say. Um, Hindu, Hindu supremacists are not in power in India. The BJP is a party of Hindu nationalists. There's a big difference. They do not believe that Hindus are superior to Muslims, Christians, or any other Indians. They simply believe that India is a Hindu nation and must and the government must protect the Hindu religion and Hindu traditions and culture. That doesn't mean that there can be discrimination against other religions. And there's absolutely no way the UCC could attack and prosecute Muslims and Christians for practicing their faith. It'll only affect their marriage lives and stuff. Yeah, so s- most of the um, criticisms of the UCC are like this. What does the Uniform Civil Code in Goa state? First, we have to understand that the Uniform Civil Code in Goa comes from the Portuguese Civil Code, which was enacted in 1867 when Portugal ruled over Goa. And once India liberated Goa from the Portuguese, they kept the same civil code and it was not altered. So this civil code is different from others in India because it applies to all the people in Goa, irrespective of their religion. For example, marriages. The registration of marriages is made compulsory under the Goan Code so that the disputes which may arise can be resolved by the law. Consent of men and women is required before marriage. The Goan Code allows for a prenuptial agreement which can alter the ratio to distribution of assets. Now, these are uh, provi- these provisions are also there in the Hindu Marriage Act, but of except for the prenuptial agreement. There's nothing in the Hindu Marriage Act which allows a prenuptial agreement. Neither does the Act disallow one. But the Goan Code, by uh, deliberately allowing it, gives some financial safety to the couple. And so I think that's a good feature of it. And the Special Marriage Act is something that applies across India, and it governs the marriages of two people from different religion. And basically, people from different religions can marry under this act without having to convert to either of their religions. However, in Goa, this act applies differently. Muslim men whose marriages are registered do not have the right to polygamy in Goa. So that's basically the basics of Uniform Civil Code as the issue stands in India. Now, why I support it is because of several reasons. Uh, One, India is a very diverse country with different ethnicities, languages, and cultures and religions, and the and this diversity is good because it gives India a lot of wisdom, lot of ideas, energy. It keeps the country vital and energetic. But it also is a weakness because it can spread divisions within the country and make people view each other in a hostile manner. That way, unity is very important. We need to strengthen the factors that unite us. And in India, the biggest unifying factor is Hinduism and other dharmic religions like Sikhism, Buddhism, and Jainism. These four pretty much unite around 85% of Indians, and the remaining Christians and Muslims are a bit separate from this. But if therefore there's a divide between these two groups, and as I've said in previous videos, where Indian Muslims and Christians grow in population, they become less connected from Hinduism, and uh, sometimes separatist movements begin there, such as in Kashmir and in the Northeast. Therefore, if a uniform civil code is made, it can be which is based in dharma, the dharmic uh, religions, without while including the rights of everyone to practice religion however they want, but the laws that they live under will be uh, in based on Hindu traditions and Hindu culture. It'll help unite the country. It'll make people feel more closer to each other. They won't view each other as total different, totally different, but as they'll view each other as more similar than different, which will strengthen the bonds of fraternity in the country. And yeah, that's why I support the Uniform Civil Code. And if you want to see other videos related to Indian nationalism in general, please click on this playlist. If you want to see my previous video, click here. And if you want to see the sources that I used for this video, click the links in the description below. Thank you for watching. Vande Mataram.